Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's video is going to be about how to import data from a folder using Power Query. So here I've got the three spreadsheets that I'll be working with in this video. So here I have the sales data for 2017 of a supermarket sales. And as you can see, it has the branch name, the supermarket city, the product line, and a bunch of prices and gender and type. And it's quite messed up here. So before I get it onto a fresh Excel document, I want to combine the data. So let's get into that. So here I'm on a fresh Excel spreadsheet, and make sure before you do anything that your Excel files that you're going to be putting onto the spreadsheet are not open. So mine are not open because I just closed mine, but make sure that none of them are open, otherwise it won't load onto here. So first I will go into the data tab, and then I will click on get data. And so now under get data, I'm just going to click on the drop down, and from file, and then I will go into from folder, and it will pop up with this box. So I want to browse because my folder is on here, so I'm going to go into pictures because that's where I put mine, and I will go into CSV sales. And so I don't need to double click on it, you can just click on it once, and then I'll click open, and then click on OK. So now that I've got all my three files, I will go into combine, and I'll click the drop down, and where it says combine and transform data, I will click on that, and it will take me to this. So make sure that the sample file is on first file, and I will click on sheet 1, and if you scroll you can see your data, and I'll press OK. And it opens with Power Query Editor. So here we have Power Query Editor, and over here are the applied steps, so we can X and do whatever we want with this. And over here we have queries, so we can just refresh this, and yeah. And so now I want to go into transform sample file because that's where we will be making our changes to the data. So now that we're in transform sample file, I want to start fixing my headers because that's my first step in cleaning the data. So if you scroll through, you can see that all your data has loaded onto here. And so the first step that I need to do to start is I am going to go over here, and where it says promote headers, I will just X on that, and everything has come down now. After this, I will go into the transform tab, right, and then I will select my first two columns, and then I'm going to click on transpose. So I will transpose this, and then where it has this little drop down, I will right click on that, and I will click on merge columns. And the separator is going to be the space, because I have a space with my data, but if your data has a colon or a comma, there's obviously different options for that over here. And so I'm going to click OK, and there we go. And after this, again, I will go and I will transpose this, and then I'll go back to my home tab, now I will go into this little table icon, so I will like right click on that, and when it says use first row as headers, I will click on that, and boom, all our headers are nice and clean now, and they are perfectly column names, just as we want them to be. So the next thing that I want to do is I want to separate the gender and the type. So I will just click on it, and by the way, it's at the end of my data. So I'll just click on it, and then I will go into the home tab. We're already in the home tab, and I'll go to split column, and where it says by delimiter, I'm going to click on that because I want it by the delimiter, but there are many different options that you can choose from if you want to do something else. So for now, I'll just click by delimiter, and again, my my delimiter is going to be space because that's what I have in between my gender and my type. So I will just do space, and I'll click OK, and there we go. It's separated our gender and our type for us, so it makes it easier and cleaner to look at. So I'll just rename these. So that one's going to be gender, and this one will be type. Type. There we go. So now that we're done that, our third step in cleaning our data is that I want to multiply our unit price and our quantity sold. So I will just select both of these, and up here where it says home, transform, and add column. So I will just go into the add column. I'm already in it, and I'm going to go to standard, and where it says multiply, I will obviously click on multiply, and here it's made a whole separate table, column, for multiplying. And something else you can do is you can round it. So you there are different options like round up, round down, but I will click on the round and the dots because that lets you round whichever decimal place you want. So I will round mine to 2 decimal places, and I'll click OK. So now this makes me a whole new column, and so I won't need this anymore, so I can just quickly delete that. And now I'm going to rename this to sale amount, and there, we've made a whole new column. Something else you can do to count your rows is you can go into the transform tab, and where it says count rows, you can just click on it. So the preview of Power Query only downloads 1,000 rows. So if you want to check if the 1,000 rows have been downloaded, you can just go into the count rows, and if you just want to delete the step and go back to your thing, then you just X on the count rows. So something else you can do is you can filter your data. So what you can do for that is just click on the drop down, and you can tick and untick whatever you want to be there and what you don't want to be there. So obviously if you don't want something to be here, then you can just untick it, but obviously I want all my data, so I'm just going to press OK. So something else that I want to do is I want to add a column. So how to do that is when you go up here, you just go into add column, which is next to the transform tab, and then I'm going to click on custom column. So once I click on custom column, it says new column name. So I want to name this column year, and then my formula is going to be date dot year, right? And I'll just out, and then I will go start brackets, and I'm going to find date sold. So I'm going to double click on that, and then I'll close the brackets, and make sure that you have no syntax errors before you press OK, otherwise obviously it won't work. So that's my formula, and I'll press OK, and boom, I made a whole year column. Now remember, we have been working in the transform sample file this whole time, so now we want to get back into our actual place where we will be loading the data into. And so when I click on it, you go into here, under the queries tab, it gives me an error, and that is because the changes have been applied in here and not in the actual place. So all I need to do to get my data back is go underneath the applied steps and delete the change type. So once I delete that, I get my data back. I also don't need this source name, so I will just select it and delete it. Now, another thing that I want to do before I am ready to load my data is I want to change the data type. So I will select all my columns there, and then I'm going to go into the transform tab, and in the transform tab it has something called detect data type. So once you click on that, as you notice, these little icons change, and that is because it has detected what kind of data it is. So for example, these are names of places, so it's going to be ABCs. And if you come to, these are the prices, so it's going to be decimal numbers. So Power Query has detected our data type. So now that I've made all the changes that I need, I am ready to load it. So I'm going to go back into the Home tab, and where it says Close and Load, I will click on the drop down, and I will click on Close and Load to. So once I click that, it comes up with this little box. So these are the different ways that we can display our data. So there's a table format, a pivot table report, a pivot chart, and for this one you have to tick on add this data to the data model, and then if you click on that, then you can make that. But today I will not be showing you that one. I will be showing you how to put it into a pivot table report. So I will select pivot table report, and I'll click on OK. And now my data is all ready to build. So now I'm ready to make a pivot table report out of my data. So I'm going to go into pivot table fields and scroll down to where it says year. So I'm going to drag my year into the rows box, and I'm going to take sale amount into my values box. So over here, as you can see, we've got the three data sets and the sale amount. So one other thing that I want to do to finish this off is I want to show you how to automatically bring another data set into this spreadsheet automatically when I put it into the folder that all this data is in. So for that, I'm going to go into my folder where I've kept it. So I'll go to Excel presentation, and the data that I have is sales 2020, because we have sales 2017, 2018, and 2019. I just wanted to add in another sales. So I will just copy this, and I'll go into here, and if I just paste it into here, and then I go into my Excel file, and then I go to data, and then I go refresh all, then our 2020 data set pops up into here, and I find that very cool because I haven't really done anything. It's just automatically come onto here. So you can do that with many other files. So if you keep adding to that folder, you can obviously get more and more files over here. So that comes to the end of today's video. I hope everyone learned something from this, and please subscribe to my channel for more videos.